One Piece doesn't become legendary because the fights get bigger. It becomes legendary because the meaning behind those fights changes. At the very beginning of the series, the Straw Hats don't fight for the world, they fight for survival, dreams, and escape. But by the time Alabasta ends, something fundamental shifts. This video isn't a power scaling breakdown, it's not a recap of arcs or a list of feats. This is a breakdown of what strength means to each Straw Hat, why they fight, the way they do, and how those philosophies evolve from East Blue to Alabasta, and most importantly how Vivi leaving and Nico Robin joining permanently changes how the crew thinks. Each Straw Hat represents a different answer to the same question: what does strength actually mean? Luffy doesn't chase strength to prove anything, he fights because freedom must exist. From the very beginning, Luffy's power isn't tied to rank, fear, or legacy, it's tied to defiance. Luffy fights because he refuses authority over his will, he protects chosen bonds, he rejects cages, rules, and fear. He doesn't plan, he doesn't calculate, he trusts instinct and imagination. Even further forms make sense because Luffy's strength is built on one idea: creative over control. Luffy isn't powerful because he wants freedom, he's powerful because he refuses to live without it. For Luffy, strength is permission to exist on his own terms. Zoro doesn't fight for freedom, he fights for duty. Every battle is a measure against a promise he made before joining the crew. Zoro fights because weakness feels like betrayal. Endurance equals loyalty. Honor must be visible. Strength means carrying pain without complaint. Zoro doesn't endure pain because it makes him strong, he endures because failure would erase who he is. For Zoro, strength is proof the vow still stands. Sanji's strength isn't aggression, it's choice. He remembers hunger, humiliation, and power used without mercy. Sanji fights because he refuses to become cruel, he protects dignity, care matters more than dominance. His rule against fighting women isn't weakness, it's identity. Sanji isn't strong because he can hurt others, he's strong because he knows who he will never become. Nami doesn't overpower enemies, she outthinks reality. Having lived under oppression, Nami learned survival through knowledge. Nami fights because patterns can be exploited, chaos can be predicted, precision beats force. Storms aren't weapons, they're systems. Nami doesn't win fights, she engineers outcomes. For Nami, strength is control through understanding. Usopp isn't built to dominate, he's built to survive. Where others rush forward, Usopp prepares sideways. Usopp fights because fear is information, preparation saves lives, creativity fills power gaps. Every weapon is self-made, every lie hides intelligence. Usopp isn't strong despite being scared, he's strong because he listens to it. Strength for Usopp is adaptation under pressure. Chopper understands something terrifying before anyone else. Power always costs something. The Rumble Ball isn't magic, it's experimentation. It's biology pushed too far. Chopper fights because healing creates responsibility. Power demands restraint. Medicine exists to protect, not dominate. Monster Point isn't rage, it's power without limits. Chopper isn't dangerous because he transforms, he's dangerous because he knows when not to. Vivi doesn't lead through force, she leads through restraint. She understands something the Straw Hats haven't yet faced. Victory can destroy what it's trying to save. Vivi fights because collapse spreads faster than war. Leadership absorbs pain. Stability matters. She chooses her people over belonging. Vivi doesn't leave the Straw Hats because she's weak. She leaves because staying would make her country dependent. Strength for Vivi is choosing responsibility over desire. Robin joins quietly, but everything changes. She survived by understanding history, systems, and inevitability. Robin fights because history repeats. Ignorance destroys slowly. Long-term thinking saves lives. She doesn't ask how to win battles, she asks what happens after. Robin transforms the Straw Hats from survivors into planners. Vivi shows them why responsibility matters. Robin shows them how to manage it. Alabasta isn't about beating Crocodile, it's about understanding power. After this arc, the Straw Hats no longer fight only for themselves, no longer act without consequences, no longer exist in isolation. Freedom now carries weight. Alabasta is the moment the Straw Hats stop running from the world and start shaping it. One Piece doesn't grow because power escalates, it grows because ideas mature. Each Straw Hat represents a philosophy of strength. Luffy equals freedom. Zoro equals obligation. Sanji equals restraint. Nami equals understanding. Usopp understands adaptation. Chopper equals consequences. Vivi equals responsibility. Robin equals foresight. Only together do these philosophies create something truly dangerous, not conquerors. but forces that reshape outcomes. This is where the One Piece truly begins. If you had to choose not who fights better, but what strength really means to you, whose philosophy would you choose? Luffy's freedom, Zoro's obligation, Sanji's restraint, Nami's understanding, Usopp's adaptation, Chopper's consequence, Vivi's responsibility, or Robin's foresight? Let me know down below.